Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Jessica Canellis, and I wanted to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to go over our optimized operations and efficient cost management with Portus. I know some of you are users, some of you are looking into it. Here is our contact information for all of us here at PeopleSense. Jim Castellano, the president and owner, myself, Jessica Canellis, and then all of you know your made to manage account manager, Jim Cooey. And then if you guys are looking at any other ERP, HR, payroll, time and attendance, Jim McCormick. And then if you're looking for a document management, you can contact Brendan. And then if you guys have any questions throughout the event, please throw them down into the question box, and our team will be happy to answer them. Or if you have them at a later date, you can contact any single one of us here. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Bob from Portus so we can get it started.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. I guess I'll ask that of Jessica just to make sure you can see.
Yes, I see your
Okay.
Portus Lunch and Learn.
Perfect. So we'll skip a lot of the normal sales jazz that we go through on full demos, but I do want to hit a few key points here. So first of all, a quick background. Portus started in June of 2010, so it makes us a little bit over 15 years old. Our entire team comes from a manufacturing background, so we like to say that we've been in your shoes, and we understand the need for analytical reporting as well. We've been building on top of Made to Manage database for about 13 years. And if we had to wrap up Portus into one long sentence, it would be that it's a curated real-time analytics with continuous drill downs into more levels of detail, delivered in an easy-to-use browser-based application. In the Lunch and Learns, we usually have two audiences. Those are going to be a combination of existing Portus customers where we think they may be in here just to get a quick overview of functionality and walk away saying, I didn't know Portus could do that. Prospective customers. So we're skipping the whole sales and marketing. They just want to see what Portus has to offer. And now that you've seen it, and maybe you want to learn more, go ahead and ask PeopleSense following this to set up a personalized demo with us. They'll reach out and we'll coordinate some times, and we can certainly do a full-blown demo to a larger audience. At the conclusion of this, those that sat through the entire session will be given a $25 Starbucks digital gift card. That'll be mailed out within about 48 hours of the completion of this. So right now, where we're at in the sales process, technically we're at the webinar point. I guess today's goal for all of you guys, if you can answer one question, do you see enough to warrant investing in a 1-hour demo? If the answer is yes, again, reach out to PeopleSense. They'll work with us and we'll get something set up. With that, let's jump into Portus. So once you're a customer with Portus, your IT staff would be given a URL that they can hand out to the users, and everybody will be given a login ID and the ability to set their password the first time. So you would log into Portus at this screen, and this would be what Portus looks like on the main screen. There's a series of tabs up at the top that have different functionality and menus or reports under each one. So for this session, we're going to be focused on operations, which includes some WIP and job costing and labor tracking. So we're going to start with the lowest common denominator report for that operations session, and that's going to be the job inquiry report. So if I select the job inquiry report, I can use this drop down to provide information either at a job number level, part number level, or description. And I'm just going to leave it as a job number, and I'm going to key in a job. Now I can just put in partial information here because notice it says contains there. If I put the whole job number in, it's just going to give me my one job immediately. If I put in a portion of that, it's going to give me a list of jobs that meet that criteria, and then I can sort through and find the job I'm looking for. Go ahead and hit go, and the report will generate. When this report pops up, there'll be 4 sections to this. The top section is header information, so that's going to contain job number, part number, revision, description information, along with some sales orders information if it's tied to a sales order. You'll see off to the right-hand side, there'll be dates and quantity, hours, and dollar information as well. The middle section here, or the second section, is a job hierarchy. And in this area, you're going to find, if you had a main job selected here, you're going to be able to see all the subcomponents that go along with that job and report ultimately up to the parent. And you'll also be able to see their status. To the right of each one of these jobs, you're going to have the ability to see part number information, some dates, so scheduled dates, and you're going to see some quantities off to the right-hand side. Those quantities off to the right-hand side would be the order quantity, and if there's a balance left to make on each one of those jobs, and then it'll show you some component information off to the right, how many bill of material components are needed and whether there's any shortages associated with them. The next section down below is basically your routing WIP status section. So in this case, you're going to see a yellow line going across the screen because that's the current operation that this job order is in. It's in the operation 110 W clean, and you can see all the items above it have quantities that have been finished and completed all the way through. The next section down below that is your bill of materials. So here's the 4 items that are on that BOM. A couple of them are purchased or stock parts, and a couple of them are make parts. As we scroll off to the right-hand side here, you're going to see that for the top 2 items that are in stock, you have quantities on hands of 557 and 186, and it shows you the bill of material need quantity here. But in these ones here, nothing's been issued, purchased, or no sub jobs created for it, so the balance remains 140 and 30 that are owed to this job. You're also going to see in here the make jobs, and you can see that they have a quantity needed of 5, and they are made up of sub jobs. Another report we can look at here is job log report, and the job log by default comes up as released status only, but you do have the ability to hit the drop down here and select some other types of statuses if you choose to, but I'm going to leave it in released status and hit go. And this is going to go ahead and gather a bunch of information, and it's going to show us the WIP level detail about all release jobs, like total number of operations, completed operations, current op, how many days they've been at that operation, etc. So this is a very well used report by a large majority of our customers. So on the left-hand side, going down, you're going to see all the jobs that were in the release status. If they're associated with a sales order, you'll see the sales order listed here. Anything blue and underlined, you're able to drill down in deeper. But as we go off to the right-hand side of these jobs, you're going to see total number of operations on those jobs, if any of those operations have been completed. So let's look at this one here. It's got 18 total operations, 11 of them have been completed, and none of those operations in sequence have been skipped. It's currently sitting in operation 110 on the Bridge Mill Work Center, and that work center belongs to department number 50. It's been sitting there for 2 days, so you can see this whole column here shows how many days each one of these jobs have been sitting at that corresponding work center. So in some cases, I know the dates and the data in here are old on this database, but this might be a driving factor to say, hey, I got something out there that's been sitting in an operation for 30 days not being worked on. I might need to go look into it. As you scroll off to the right-hand side, you're going to see some operation information. So here's the next operation it's going to go to, the last operation that was completed. And then there's part number, attribute information off to the right here further, and then a lot of date. And at the far side here, it's going to be a summary of all the days, so released, late, and behind schedule days, job quantities and balances, all your component information, so how many are needed, unissued, and short. And then on the very far side, you're going to see your hours, total cost, per unit cost, actual versus estimated. So at this level here as well, we're going to drill in a little further. If you remember that last job we had on the job inquiry report, we were focused on an item that was currently in the W clean. So let's just go ahead and filter this report for W clean. This would show all released jobs currently sitting in that queue. And you'll notice this top one here is the job that I referenced a little while ago. So again, if anything's blue and underlined, you can pick on it and drill into the report. This will bring us right back to that original report we were in. And I want to mention a couple other things as we go through some of these screens. You'll notice on all the different screens that I open up, there is a little Excel icon, export, in the upper right corner. You can click on that and it's going to provide you a nice little clean, bona fide Excel document that you can then put in formulas, add columns, pass around, hand out, do whatever you want. So it's a very clean looking document. A couple other notes on this report. You can see the overall job costing of this report. So on all jobs that have labor tracked and material issued or bought to the jobs, you're able to pick on job costing, and you'll have blue underlined records in here that you can pick on and drill deeper into the data. So here, let's look at the operation number 20, welding. It's got 5.05 hours actual clock to it and an estimate of 4.66. If I pick on the 5.05, I can see that that 5.05 hours was made up of two records, one being 4.47 hours and one being 0.58 hours in the W weld by this person, Lila. I'm going to back out of here. And I'm back to my starting point. We're going to run in and look a little bit more at some cost analysis. There's a report out here called Job Cost History. And again, you got some little options area down here. You can enter information either by part or by description. I'm going to go ahead and key in a part number. And then this data is old, so I got to make some modifications to some dates here real quick. Actually, just a little bit more. So in this date range for that part, I see two jobs come up. If I open this up even further, I should be able to see more jobs run within this date range. So now I got 8 jobs. So in this date range down here, this job this part number has been run on 8 different jobs. And you can see off to the right-hand side here, a lot of information related to those jobs that were run. You can see the hours, actual versus estimate, the actual costs, estimated cost of material, labor, and overhead. And then off to and subcon, so if there's any tooling or subcontract or other costs associated with it. And then on the far right, you're going to see your total cost and per unit cost, estimate versus actual, along with a variance of each. So you can see how you're trending over a period of time on any given part across, multiple years or multiple jobs. There's another great report in here for doing some of this analysis as well, called Production Pivot. It does take a minute to run, just a warning. It's pulling 18 months of labor tracking and material issues and whatnot, and compiling them into one screen that you can slice and dice in a number of different ways. So we'll wait for a second till this pops up. All right, so it comes up by default to Work Center as the main filter. But you can go ahead on the trends and the basis here, and you can select different trends. So I'm going to do a quarterly trend. So instead of monthly periods across here, it's going to show me quarterly periods across here. So this is where, each quarter's obviously got 3 months in it. So this is where you're getting your 18-month view of hours actually clocked in each of the work centers by quarter. I can also go in here and maybe you want to look at it by cost. How much did each work center cost per quarter? Or you can go in there and do it by units as well. So how many units were produced through each work cell? I'm going to go ahead and change this back to hours for this example. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to filter for our work center or our assembly. So now here's just one record of each quarter total hours by our assembly. Now maybe I want to see if that's run across multiple shifts. So I'll select a shift up here and hit filter. And I can see that of those 6,000 hours in Q3 of 24, 5,500 hours were produced by first shift, 541 by second shift. Now maybe if I want to dig a little bit more into one of those shifts in particular, I can go over here and I can say, show me shift 2. And then I'm going to go in here and say, maybe I want to see it by product class. So now I'm seeing my product class through our assembly work center on second shift. Here's the hours clocked for each one of these product classes. And again, if you can hover over something or it's got a hyperlink on it, it's going to be drillable. So if we drill into this, we're going to see all the lowest level records for 1,426 hours in that product class in that work center, and it'll show you each individual on a date for a specific job, how many hours and the total cost for that transaction. And again, everything's got a link to Excel, so if this is something you need, you can export that out. Another great report is labor efficiency. For this one, I'm going to do 2 months worth of data. Note this company database that we have here runs an October to September fiscal period. So what we're going to be seeing here is August and September are going to be period 11 and 12, and this first record for October is actually going to be the first period in 2022. And this has similar filters at the top like the last report that we just looked at. So it's going to compile the data and come back with a default by work center. So this is work centers down the left side, all the estimated hours and actual hours and their associated efficiency for the date range that I selected. Now I can start slicing and dicing this any way I want. We'll kind of do the same thing we did in the last one. We're going to go in here and say, well, maybe there's a work center in here that you're worried about the efficiencies. Let's look at our assembly down here. It's at 78% efficient. Let's go find some more information out. Again, I can go in here and I can say, well, I want to see this by shift or by period. I can see that my worst efficiency is at period 11, where I estimated 100 hours and it took 149 hours to actually produce the parts. Maybe I want to dig into that a little further. So I'm going to go up here and pick that period. Then I'm going to go over to the report by, I'm going to switch it to jobs. Maybe I can find if there's specific jobs that were causing this to be low efficiency. Now, if I go over to the efficiency column and sort it in ascending order, I can see that this second job right here was run at a 4% efficiency. It was estimated at a half hour of time to produce, and 13.70 hours were recorded. Now, we don't have drills yet set up on these job numbers, but one of the nice things about Portus is you can have multiple screens open, unlimited sessions. So I'm just going to open one more session up real quick so I don't lose my report. And I'm going to take that job number and I'm going to go right back into job inquiry. So if you remember back here, we have a job number. Estimate was 0.5 on our assembly, and it was 13.7 hours clocked to it, which was one of the contributing factors to the overall low efficiency. Now, if I look at this particular job and go into job costing here, I can see that 13.7 hours right here on our assembly. And if I pick on that, I'm going to be able to see all the labor records in here. Now, it could be that this is a personal or a personnel issue. Maybe this person's new, maybe they need some more training, or it could be from an estimating standpoint. I mean, this is not going to tell you that, but it's going to help you get down to the lowest level and figure out whether you need to point your fingers in a production side of things or maybe an estimating side of things. And we're going to go back and take one little different peek at this same report. We're going to do this I'm going to rerun it real quick so it clears everything out and goes back to the default. We're going to run this. Let's say I want to look at it from an estimating standpoint. So on the left-hand side in the main filter report by filter, I'm going to select estimator. And now I'm just going to pick on somebody down here, but I see MJG, initials for an estimator, large amount of hours, and they're estimating at about 6,600 hours in that date range that I selected over here, and the actual clockings are 9,200, and the overall efficiency of that estimator is 71%. Maybe I want to know more about that. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to pick that estimator. And then I'm going to go over here on the report by screen, and I'm going to select work center. I'm going to see if I can figure out a work center that's contributing to that low percentage. Now, if I look at actual hours, I don't want to probably point my finger at these small records here. I'm going to sort this in descending order. Sorry for that. Give me 1 second to get this set back up. Let's go look for MJG, I believe was the estimator. And we're going to run this by work center and filter this descending. And I can see that our welding had 2,000 hours estimated, and there was 2,300 hours actual for 86% efficiency. Maybe you want to spend some time looking at that, but I can see the record rate below it. T finishing, 1,076 hours estimated, and almost double as actual time clocked to it, netting a 56% efficient. So I can actually go up here then, and I can actually look at that work center, T finishing. And then I can go back over to the main report by filter, and I can select job, and maybe there's a job or a few jobs that were contributing factors to that poor efficiency. So now again, I'm going to go in here. I can see that some of these top jobs here, 77 hours estimated, 290 hours clocked for 27% efficiency. So you might have to do some more digging into some of these jobs to find out what was the root cause of it. But ultimately, we're seeing that the T finishing work center for this estimator has had some issues. So there's many different ways you can slice and dice this report for a number of ways here: job numbers, job information, work centers, estimators, project managers. You can do it for customers, product class. So it's almost unlimited here what types of data analysis you can do in this report. A couple other things I wanted to show you, just functionality of Portus in general. On a lot of those screens, you saw little blue, white, or red bubbles. Those are called comment bubbles, and you're able to enter information or notes into any one of those bubbles and share that with other Portus users. So here was one that was red in the background. That means it's been entered in the last 5 days. If it's blue, it's been entered beyond 5 days. And if it's white, there are no notes. So here was a note that was entered in today. You can go ahead and add a note to it and just hit save. And that report bubble will contain all the different notes from all the historical notes from all users that have entered notes in there. But if you hover over it, you'll also see a listing of those notes that are there. Go back and just put a smaller range here. So if I put contains in here, it's going to bring me up all jobs that have 433 in them. And you're going to see a variety of jobs here. Most of them are going to have white notes in here. So these ones here, if I just go in and add a note, and rerun this report, that top one will turn from white to red. So there's a lot of neat little features to Portus. There's a lot more obviously to go through in different modules in here, from finance to dashboards, MRP, and there's a lot more to operations, bill of materials, etc. But we only have so much time today. So certainly if you found this intriguing and you would like to see a demo maybe with a larger audience, certainly reach back out to PeopleSense and they'll get you in touch with us. But otherwise, thanks for sitting through the demo today. And if you have any other questions too, pass those along to PeopleSense and they can send them our way and we'll get you all the answers. And if we need to, we'll even set up a small remote session to go through those questions and answers. Otherwise, I'll hand it back off to you, Jessica.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen. So you guys, if you have any questions, you can contact any one of us here. You guys know Jim Castellano and Jim Cooey. They're always welcome to answer any questions you have. And of course, they'll set something up with Bob and Portus and the team to get anything that you'd like done. But thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Bob, for today's session. And hopefully we will see you all next week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, guys.